be yourself, because I feel like, I mean, you're going to be there for like 6, 7, 8 weeks. And so it doesn't really matter if they like think you're really weird. Like, so just like be yourself, because honestly, they'll love you for it.
Say yes more than you say no, because it's really easy to say no when you're in environments that are not like your own, because you know that you can go back home and you can say yes to things you want to do. But things that sound difficult or may seem uncomfortable are the things that make exchange so interesting, because if it doesn't work out, you'll always have kind of cool stories to tell when you get back home. But if it does work out, you can learn new things about yourself out there that you can bring back home.
Especially if you go to a country where, like, you don't speak the language, or, like, it's a really huge, like, difference culturally, is, like, don't retract. Like, really try to stay off your phone if you have Wi-Fi, and, like, try to really engage with people, because everyone in exchange is generally really nice.
In terms of friends, I would say be very kind when you show up. And I know that seems like a no-brainer, but sometimes socially people use kind of an edginess. I've seen that in America and where I went on exchange, that people use a kind of sort of mean edginess to make friends sometimes. And I would say don't do that when you go, because you want to build as many bridges as possible. So when you go, be very kind, be very warm, listen, kind of get a feel for the social scene. And once you've got a really good sense of who your classmates are, definitely hone in on like a close group of friends. But I would say keep your mind open, keep your smile open, keep yourself open, and sort of go in wanting to have a really good time and get to know everyone and be friends with as many people as possible.
It is really important to bring floss. First off, because in a lot of countries, they don't have the same like pharmacies that we have here, so you can't just go to CVS and buy floss or things like that, but you're also meeting so many people. So it's just kind of like a metaphor to keep your teeth clean, because everyone likes bright smiles.
Make friends with other exchanges and be part of the culture.
It's just like, in this video, and I'm sure like talking to other people are going to give you a lot of advice on what to do on your exchange and how to do things and what you need to do to prepare and what you need to do while you're there and what you should and shouldn't do and who you should listen to and how you should live your life. And like, it's gonna be a big experience, but at the same time, it's still just you living your life. You know what I mean? So like take in everything you're hearing, take in all the advice you're hearing, but take it all with a grain of salt and know that so much of the changing that's going to happen to you is going to happen naturally, behind your own back, when you're not noticing, and at the end of the 6 to 8 weeks, you're going to look back and you're going to be like, wow, this was an experience. And maybe you won't notice while it's happening, maybe every moment is going to feel like, oh my god, like, what, my mind has changed, my world has changed, but it's probably not. It's probably going to feel like you're driving to Starbucks with your friends. You are sitting in class surrounded by Indian people. Like, it's just going to feel like things are happening. And then you're not going to realize that things are changing until it's over.
Go into it with an open mind and make the best of it, because it's a really cool experience and a really unique experience. And anyone who has the opportunity to do it is going to have a wonderful time going on exchange, wherever that may be. So I'd say probably the best advice that I could give anybody is just to like not having expectations of like the place they're going to, and just go in it with an open mind, like I said, and just try and make as many friends and like acquaintances and like connections as possible.
Be prepared to be in a country that isn't America and in a school that isn't Athenian. Because so many of us have lived in America and have gone to Athenian for so long, it just seems like everyone acts the way that we do. And just be aware that Athenian isn't the norm, and talk to your exchange about their country and school beforehand.
It's going to be like a very short amount of time where you can do whatever you want, and homework isn't going to be your main priority. So just like take that time to like be busy and be tired, and it'll pay off because you'll have a bunch of cool new experiences to come back home with.
I want you to know that there are going to be times where you won't be open-minded, where you won't be open to all of the things you're going to experience, and where you're not going to be able to accept some stuff. And I think that's okay. As long as you don't go into it with the expectation that you are always going to be able to keep an open mind, that you are always going to be able to accept everything that is thrown at you. If you are okay with that, and you can live with that and understand it, I think you'll have a better experience.
Be that person who goes and makes the plans with friends. Don't wait around for somebody to take you somewhere. Have things you want to do and be busy. Stay busy. Don't just stay alone in your room until you make friends and those friends come up to you. Be the outgoing one. Be ready to do whatever it takes.
I think one of the biggest things that you have to keep in mind when you're going on exchange is that it is a learning experience and that it's not supposed to be a vacation. And though it can be as fun as a vacation, it's not going to always be a vacation. And in this exchange that you go on, one of the most fundamental things that you must keep in mind is who you are and your own identity. Know your values, know your beliefs and the things you love and the person you are and the things you value about yourself. Because when you're taken away from your roots and brought into a new community and a new society and a new culture, and you're asked to place temporary roots there, you're gonna have to know the things that make you and what you believe in, and you're gonna have to find a way to not just stick to that, because you don't have to stick to it. You don't have to keep these values that you have stuck in stone. You don't have to write them in stone. Know that they're going to change with your experience. But know that there are things about you that are important and valuable, and know those certain few things that make you the person you are. And if you can remember this through the times that are hard and the good times as well, you can stay comfortable in your own skin and in your own identity. And in that way, when people challenge your identity, you know who you are.
When you go on exchange, check with your exchange partner about what you should wear and how they dress there, about their culture. Because something that's 75 degrees here, how you dress here, is completely different in other countries.
So something that's really good on exchange is making friends outside of your host and outside of your host family, and making sure that you join the community at large and at the school that you're going to. Like when I was in Tasmania, I joined the soccer team in the play, and it was great because I got to meet like people from all different types of grades and just people that my host wasn't exactly friends with. So it was great to just like be a part of their community and just try new things, and also trying like things that might be taboo over here, like Vegemite, and trying different customs, different types of food that you might think are weird, but you never know, you might really like it.
My advice is to keep a journal.
If you're on exchange and your friends also happen to be on exchange, be sure to stay in contact with them. You should definitely be in the moment with your exchange and in whatever country you're in, but if you're struggling and you need someone to talk to, it can be really helpful to talk to them because they are kind of going through the same thing you are.
So I think one of the biggest tips is that they tell you to bring presents for like your friends when you're leaving for exchange. And yeah, definitely do that. I think I'm really glad I did.
Focus on the positive things about where you are and not the negatives, the things that are inconvenient, the things that are maybe even like strange, weird, uncomfortable, because those things aren't what you're going to remember anyway if you don't dwell on them. If you think about the positive things and are willing to, experience problems and, learn how to do things better from your mistakes, I think mostly a positive attitude is the most important part of going on exchange.
And go forth and accept all the new experiences that come your way. That's the number one thing. And number two, if you're really anxious about going on exchange, research your school and like where they are in terms of everything else, just so that you know a little bit more.
I would say take risks. And by take risks, I don't mean break the rules, because that's a great way to get sent home early, which is bad. I would say take risks in terms of the kinds of things you try out. Try a new sport, try new art, try new language. In my own personal experience, I went to the mountains in Scotland, to the Cairngorm Mountains. I hiked through the snow. It was amazing. It was like AWE plus Scottish snow, and it was totally amazing, totally fantastic. I cherish those memories to this day.
if you're going to a place where they speak a different language, definitely just be patient because it will take some time to get used to it no matter how long you've been studying the language. But before you know it, you'll definitely be more accustomed to life there. And even if you go to a place where they speak English, there will still be differences and challenges that you have to face, but just go in with an open mind and be patient with yourself.
Just relax and be open-minded and take a lot of photos.
I think you need to do a lot of figuring out who you are so that when you go, you know how you're going to operate in a world that you're really not going to understand. And I think that Athenian prepares you to be very accepting and open-minded. So I don't think you're going to have a real problem with that on cultural things. But there are certain aspects of culture that you're not going to be okay with. Maybe it's homophobia or sexism. Maybe you go to a country that has, like America, a lot of racism or a lot of history of racism. And you're going to have to deal with that too and navigate that. And they might have a different way of doing things like that. And you might not be okay with those because they're different from the way Athenian has taught you to think. And I think you need to trust how you feel and know that if you feel something is just fundamentally wrong, I mean, you know, parts of culture, maybe they don't really use forks. That's part of culture. You can get used to that and be open-minded about that. But there's some stuff you won't be able to be, and I think that's okay. And if you just know that and accept that and figure out who you're going to talk to before you leave, who you're going to talk to about that kind of stuff, I think that's another big part of it, is finding someone who, when you come up against something you just can't get over, you have someone to talk to about it and you don't feel totally alone.
Really get to know the other exchanges that are going to be there, so not only engage with the culture of the country that you're in, but there's going to be people from other countries and other cultures that you get to experience, so it's just an added bonus.
Because everything like changes so quickly on exchange, you don't really have control of anything, because you know you're like the school takes care of you, your host family takes care of you. Like, find something that you can control and like do the same thing every day so that you have consistency. Just like, for example, I had a bowl of muesli and yogurt every day. Like, that was my consistent thing.
Be really open to new experiences and like making friends and being willing to experiment with different things.
Exchange is such an amazing opportunity, and it's easy to forget, you know, when 30 other people in your school are also going on exchange during the same time. But it was the first time in my life, and I know the first time in a lot of our lives, that you really get to be on your own. And like, all of a sudden, you're not around the people that you're used to being around all the time, and you don't immediately have friends when you walk into every room. Revel in that, you know? Be yourself and be open, and sometimes you'll get good responses and sometimes you won't, and if you don't, you'll learn from those, and you'll learn so much about yourself and how you respond to the world, and so much about the world around you and how it reacts to you and how it is different than your world and how it's similar to your world as well. Be in the moment all the time, because like, it really is just an amazing time of your life, and to be 15 years old and in a foreign country on your own is such an incredible opportunity, and you just have to take it in. And, you know, it's going to be 6 to 8 weeks, and it will be really long, and it will go by really fast, all at the same time, and every single one of those days is going to shape you, and just let it shape you, I would say.